Wrong button. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to V Rising. I'm Phlinger Phoo, and today we're going to be discussing quite a few different tips that I've learned in my time with playing this game, because I've been playing this game quite a bit on my own server, and then also on my own single player as well, so where I can get a really good feel for everything, and then do a series on it, and then basically just do a let's play and just have a ton of fun, because this game is a blast, and I find myself just wanting to log in more and more. So I figured I would share a bunch of the tips that I've learned along the way with you guys, and then hopefully some of them actually help out. Alright, let's cut to the chase and let's get started. Alright, the first tip I want to talk to you guys about is during the daylight. One of the things that you're gonna have to realize is you are a vampire. You are a creature of the night, so you have to stick to the shade very much. So make sure that when you're out here in the daylight, and you have to pay very close attention to the daylight, is that you are not in direct sunlight ever. Because you can go out into it like this, and you will start to slowly burn, and then eventually, you will really start to burn. And it adds up really, really fast. So you need to pay very close attention to that. Stick to the shade. Sometimes, there have been many times where I just find myself in a weird situation where I hole up next to a tree and just wait until nightfall. It is that dangerous. But yeah, just be very careful when you're out here. Make sure that you're moving really fast in between the trees, and I think it adds a really nice kind of just game dynamic that you have to pay very close attention to. Here we go. I'm going to start taking damage, and there we go. Just barely. Yeah, it's one of the things you really need to start paying attention to. Alright, this next thing I want to talk to you guys about is when you're building your base, when you finally start setting everything up, make sure that when you start building the border, you claim the maximum amount that you possibly can around you, because it is going to make a difference in the end. It's also, if you're playing on a multiplayer server, you want to make sure that you claim that space, so where if other people start establishing a base nearby you, then they're not going to start cutting into your base area, and so where you'll have the maximum amount that you possibly can available to you. It is important, and it is one of those things that you need to have ready for the later on part of the game, because when you start building, you'll generally have like a big, huge open area like this, but eventually it'll get segmented off into separate rooms as you need to start developing the floors and also the independent rooms for the different crafting benches that you start to have. So you're going to need to have all that real estate that you possibly can, and then having somebody's base nearby that cuts off your maximum building area, it's just going to create problems down the road. So when you're first setting off, make sure that you claim as much buildable territory as you can. Spend some time on it, get that stuff going, and I'm going to close this door before the bear eats me, and yeah. Alright, now this next tip is right here when you're starting out in the beginning of the game. When you come out into the cemetery and you have the ghouls and the skeletons that you need to fight, I would encourage you to stay here for a little while, because a lot of the stuff that you're gonna loot in here is bones. And the bones, they will help you out tremendously early game, because a lot of the stuff requires bones to do just about everything. It's in a lot of the crafting stuff. A lot of the bone dust actually comes from it. So I would encourage you to stay here for a little bit, and then just gather a whole bunch of them, because it will make a huge difference, and it will help you out. And also, it will allow you to get used to the controls quite well while you're in this cemetery, because it is rather weak, and it is really, really early game. This is kind of the tutorial for this game, is just to go through, figure out how to hack and slash, figure out what your abilities are, and also, you're not going to have to worry too much about the sun. Yeah, you will, but not nearly as bad. There's a lot of hiding spots in here that you can hide. So, yeah, my advice would generally be stay in here until the quest actually tells you, hey, you need to get your butt out and go do other things. So, yeah, be in here, get a bunch of bones, learn, figure out those controls, get them kind of, get a little bit of muscle memory going on them, but the whole time, while you're doing that, gather the bones. Also, rats. Whenever you see a rat, grab it, put it in your pocket. Rats are kind of your friends early on, because they give you a little bit of blood while you're in here. Slurp on one, and then gather up a bunch of stuff, and then craft all your gear, because it will come in handy. So yeah, bones. Make sure you've got quite a bit of them before you leave the beginning cemetery. All right, now that the sun is setting, now I want to discuss A couple different things. Well, you are now a vampire. You're living the life of a vampire, so blood, it's your way of life. Congratulations. It's absolutely a thing. So one of the things that while you're doing that, you'll realize that you have a blood pool. What you need to do is fill that blood pool periodically by draining the blood from different things. And here, you can see that while I hover over this bear, it'll tell you what type of blood it has. It's 8% creature blood. Now, I currently have 8% brute blood, which each one of them has different effects, and you can see what effect it has by mousing over it right down here. And here, while I drain this guy, my blood type will change from brute over to creature. Now, you can get all sorts of different ones, and each individual creature will have varying different levels or qualities of blood that they have. And another thing on that same path that I'm talking to you about is that when you first start getting into building your base and gathering a bunch of stuff, if you head up here to some of the bandit camps and such, you can find workers. And now the workers will actually give you bonuses to being able to gather certain things. So go up there, grab a worker, and start harvesting all your stuff whenever you're going to start gathering a bunch of stuff. But if you're going to go in for a heavy day of combat, go out and start... get one that actually gives you either leech, which will heal you, or one that gives you either movement speed if you want that, or also one that makes you do additional damage. It does make a big difference, and it does help quite a bit. And so the beast blood, sorry, tongue twister, all right, actually gives you increased movement speed for the lower tier that we have. But the higher tier we go up, it changes how, kind of the bonuses you can get. We can get sun resistance rating, damage reduction, increased health regeneration, and then boost all the above effects by 30%, which is huge. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. So yeah, pay very close attention to what kind of blood you're slurping, and yeah, use it to your advantage. All right, and another one is when you're out here and you're gathering a bunch of stuff and you see all the trees and the stones and everything, these old ruins, seriously, they are a great source of stone. Grab that stuff, harvest it up, use the old vampire civilization that didn't make it, use their loss to your gain, and then take that stuff and incorporate it into your base. I mean, you're going to have to clear it anyway if you're going to build a base in here, because you can't put your own stuff on it. So yeah, may as well get as much as you can from that stuff. All right, another one, when it comes to building bases, you want to make your base a little bit more centralized. I actually didn't make mine centralized on this one, but that's only because I'm trying to be a good server, person on the server. So yeah, so I built mine over here down on the very side. But if I were to build my most ideal base, I would build it somewhere around here or up around here, just so where it's a little bit more centralized, so where I could get into certain places a lot easier. It does make kind of a difference, and also building one near a waygate is kind of important as well, so that way there you can kind of travel. Remember, you can't use the waygate if you have any harvestable resources in your inventory, but armor and weapons, you can freely teleport with that stuff. So yeah, if you're not going to build in a central location, just make sure you're near a waygate, so where you can actually teleport over to different parts of the map. It does make a difference, especially in the long run as you get into the higher bits and you're running all over the server. All right, another one on building that doesn't seem to be super intuitive, or one that actually took me a little while to figure out, is when you are building your base, or when your main quest up here in the left actually directs you to make something that you just have no idea how to make it, and you go and you open up a bunch of your workbenches and stuff to see what kind of things you can make, and you're just kind of at a loss for how do I get this thing. Go check the blood altar. Yeah, or you can open up this inventory by clicking O, and it will tell you what bosses you can beat, and then also when you mouse over these bosses, there's a list of things that it unlocks, and sometimes what you need to advance your quest is hidden in here, and you just have to find out which boss you need to go do. And a lot of times it won't tell you, hey, you need to do this boss to complete this quest. You just have to figure out which one to do it. So check your blood altar whenever you have any questions about which direction you need to go in order to unlock that quest, because this main quest of yours is very, very important. So I would recommend constantly staying on this and constantly trying to update this, because this will guide you all the way through the game until you get to the later parts as to how you unlock everything, and then also how you should progress. By the time you're done with this main quest, you're going to be really high level, so pay very close attention to it. And then if you have any questions about how to unlock anything, go to your blood altar. Alright, the next one, we're going to be talking about some research here. Now, the research stuff is actually kind of important, but how do you get a lot of these things? Because when you open up the research, it tells you, hey, if you give it 50 paper, it'll give you a random technology, which is kind of cool, and I've used that to unlock several of them on this playthrough. But a lot of the times, you can get these just from going and raiding a bunch of the bandit forts or some of the places in town. Yeah, it is pretty dang cool. All right, here, let me show you. And so, yeah, if you go up to a lot of these, the quarries and the bandit armories. The bandit armory, in my experience, has been pretty good in the early game. You just go up there, you get a lot of the merciless stuff, and then it just gets better as you get higher up. Some of the recipes that you can get, and you can just take it back here, and each time you get a recipe book, is what they are, you take it directly to the research bench, and it will unlock that piece of equipment so you can craft it. It's a really cool system, and I find myself wanting to go in there and farm a bunch of this stuff. It's really cool. So yeah, if you want to get items that don't actually get unlocked via the storyline, just go there and you can go to some of the bandit camps in the towns, and you can start unlocking a bunch of these things just via drops. It's a pretty cool system. Alright, now another one is the items. A lot of these different items, and I'm pretty early on this playthrough, so these items aren't going to be super damaging. But you notice that when each of these items actually has a certain bonus to a different thing that it helps gather, like the swords, they actually give you increased damage to vegetation, which allows you to harvest up a bunch of plant fibers and flowers a lot easier. And say the axes allow you to gather wood faster. The copper maces allow you to mine stuff like copper ore, and then also the iron ore later on. It's pretty cool. And then the spear allows you to do damage to creatures, and what they mean by creatures is the stuff that gives you creature blood, not humans or anything else that you would walk up to and be like, well, that's kind of a creature. No, it's really not. The spear doesn't do increased damage to that. It only does increased damage to things that actually give you creature blood, which is kind of cool. And then, yeah, the crossbow doesn't give you any additional stuff. At least this one right here doesn't. So, yeah, but yeah, just pay attention to this. Each of the weapons has their own particular use. So, yeah, I encourage you to have quite a few of them, and I know I do. It helps out quite a bit. Alright, early on in the game, a couple of the things that you need to pay very close attention. Before you can actually build your castle, you're going to have this palisade little wall around you, but you're also going to have sunlight coming through. One of the things that will really help out and allow you to just move freely around inside of this while the sun's beating down on you during the day is craft yourself a mist brazier. And then you can take and you stick a whole bunch of bones in this, and then you toggle it on, and this will protect you from the sunlight in that area, because it creates just this little bit of shade around it. Actually, it's a pretty decent size that allows you to just freely move around inside of your base, and without having to get damaged by the sun. It helps out quite a bit. So just make sure that early on and that you get those bones, and then you save them up for the mist brazier, because you're absolutely gonna need them. Alright, now early on in the game, yeah, the bones, they play a very, very important part. This is why several of the tips in this video, they're about the bones, because early on, you really do need them. And if you get to a point in your quest where it says you need to use grave dust to craft a bunch, you need even additional bones. Now, granted, this cemetery that I told you about earlier, it's not going to be able to give you as many bones as you needed to, even though the advice was to stock up on as many bones as you possibly can before you leave that area. You're just not going to have enough. So, how you craft additional is with the bones in the grinder. It allows you to make bone dust, or you can go over to a bunch of the cemeteries, and there's several cemeteries around here. I don't think I have any unlocked on this one. But yeah, there's a couple cemeteries over here. There's another one, I believe, right down here. And yeah, if you just go in there, you just farm them for a little while, you'll definitely get the bone dust to drop down in there. So it'll help you out if you don't want to go get a bunch more bones. You just want to get them. But also, you'll get additional bones while you're in there in the cemeteries, and they'll help out quite a bit. So yeah, keep those cemeteries as a place to just farm whenever you need to max out an inventory or a loot chest full of bones. I encourage you generally have one of these things that is either full or close to full of bones, because yeah, you're gonna need them early game, late game, mid game, all sorts of games. So yeah, lots of bones. Although everything will drop bones, but the cemeteries generally you get quite a bit more. Alright, so that's going to be it for these tips and tricks. I hope they help you out. I hope they help you early in game. I hope they help you establish your base and basically just have fun being a vampire. I know I'm having a ton of fun in this game, and yeah, I hope they help you out. So hey, if you haven't already, make sure you click that like button. I really appreciate it. If you're new around here, subscribe. And until next time, this is Phlinger Phoo, and take it easy, everybody.